It's not coming out. Let's turn it upside down. Okay now. Right, okay. Gently lift it. There it is, it's going. There it goes. Right, and let's have the ends off.
I can play with that box now.
As with all children, the box is far more interesting than the actual product.
I can put my drawings in there. There. Is it sideways?
Right, okay, take the plastic sheet off quick. There we go. Right, okay, so this is the top. That's the mesh for the filters. There, it's magnetic. This is your on switch and everything. Here, look, USB. Yeah? Should we get it up on the desk?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, there's a pamphlet as well. It's got a tempered side glass panel. Like that. And you've got a fan on the front. Do you want to do the peel? You want to peel that off?
I can't with those.
Well, do we want to go take those off first then?
Yeah.
Oh. It's my usual one-handed job. Oh, there we go. Oh, that was just there. Just there. Just get it peeled from there. Oh, good job. Oh, yeah, right, we need to put this aside carefully. This is a tempered glass panel.
Inside place.
Yeah?
Inside one.
Oh, double peel. Let me move my hand. There we go. Excellent. Hello and welcome to Savvy Gadgets. Just let me get rid of these bits so we can get on with the main event of this video. These two pieces will be used at a later date for another video project that I'm going to be working on. You may be able to guess what that's all about, but this is the main event. This is the CiT Volcano. Now, this is the contents of my PC which broke down on me and I have since repaired. If you haven't seen those videos, go check them out. So this is now a working piece and I've just dismantled it and tested that it's working so that I know that that is all working, and I now need to put it in here. I'm going to be doing that with my daughter. She's going to be helping me because this is going to be her PC, but she gave me one specification only to what she wanted from a case, and the specification from her was I want a rainbow PC. So RGB was the way forward, and this particular case, it costs £41.99 from Scan. With delivery on top of that, which was £5.30, somewhere around that. But it actually comes with not one, and not two, not even three, but 4 RGB fans. You've got 3 in the front and 1 on the back. It has a nice tempered glass panel to go on one side, and that comes off nice and easily. Just slide that in there for safety's sake. Then it has another slide off panel on the back, giving you plenty of access, and it gives you the options for some cable management as it's already got here. Now you've got the usual connectors there, including 2 USBs and a USB 3 header for the front panel. This looks like power for the fans using the SATA power. So that should all be good. I was a bit worried about that because I didn't know how that was just going to power everything. But one of the other reasons that I like this case is not because of the RGB. I don't particularly go in for that sort of thing. Was because this is the first case that I've had that's got this protected piece on the bottom for where the fan where the power supply goes. The other nice thing is it's actually got on the top a magnetic filter. It's also got a filter on the bottom, and I was a little bit disappointed because that in itself isn't magnetic. There it is. It just basically just pops straight out. And it's not great, but it was a cheapish case and it fits the bill for my daughter. So what we're going to do is we're going to be putting this together. I've got the original plate that came with it. So let's get on with that. Okay, so this is an ATX board, this is an ATX case, but just on the off chance they didn't quite fit, I have sort of measured that up in there, and luckily I did, because it's actually missing 3 of the standoffs here, and luckily it does actually come with quite a few screws and bits and bobs to use, including some tie wraps, so I can do some additional cable management if I wanted to. I might also use some different screws that I've got in another packet that I brought for the back screws for the back plate, because I don't particularly like those, but I'm going to put those in and then we can actually start doing the build. So the first minor problem I've come across is when I measured the board, I know that I need to put in 3 standoffs here in these 3 holes to measure up with the holes on my motherboard. Opening up the packets, I've only got 2 standoffs. Now I do have some spares here, but they're completely different. They're for a different type of thread, and they probably won't fit on this motherboard. So as I know that my ATX power supply is just here in the middle of the board, just above one of those screw holes of this one, so the ATX power supply is going to be there. There's definitely going to be a stand there and a stand there, and I'm going to have to leave this one empty. Bit of an oversight. It would have been nice to have the 3 rather than just the 2, but we can work our way around it. So I'm going to install those. I'm not going to do them too tight, but we'll get back to you in a minute. Okay, so we're now ready to start installing things. Now I did do some basic wiring up first by putting the USB headers through the bottom and into the front, but unfortunately I then couldn't install the power supply. Now the power supply also doesn't have a lot of spare cable room on the back here, so it's a bit of a swine to put in. Now, Emily, do you want to give me a hand with this? Because we need to put it in that way round, because the intake's on the bottom. Yeah? Okay, so we can slide it in. There we go. Right, so we now need the screws over there in the upturned bit. No, not that. See the upturned lid? The black ones, yeah, those are the ones. Those are what we're going to use to put the power supply in with. Ah, okay, great. Okay, so let me come and stand around here and sit down. And then what we'll do is turn that around a bit, so we can then start putting the screws in. Always helps if you can line things up to start off with. This is actually really quite awkward. So if I can push on the back there like that, that's better. Put my fingers through one of the cable holes, pushing it forward. Okay, so this one in the bottom there. And I'm really glad that I put the cables, all the cables that I needed into the power supply first, because I wouldn't have been able to get my hand in there to do it. So last one just here. Just do them up finger tight. And that's our power supply installed. Now the question is there isn't room to put the cables there. At least not at the moment, not where I'd like to. I might try putting those in first again, because it looks like there's room. It would be nice to be able to do that. I might be able to thread them kind of through and pick them up with my hands from the other side. So let's give that a go. So can I feed that in there? Oh, it is close. Ah, that's better. Yeah, I can actually do that. It's good, because this is where on the other side, USB headers on my motherboard are just there, sort of in the centre, So just there and there for those two. So they're going to go and sit just about there. And this is the USB 3 header, which is just above here, about here. So that's going to fold over and go there, and the ATX power supply is going to come through here. So now what I can do, now I've got the power supply in, is I can now start putting some of these wires where I need them to go. So that's the SATA, so that can stay where it is. The ATX power supply, that goes up through there. Where's the CPU? That's the CPU. Oh, that's going to be a bit tight. It usually is. I've put that in the nearest socket that I can find, but that should be doable. That goes up there. That stays out here, and these two, these are for the graphics card. They will also go through that one there. Now, I have also come across an interesting problem that I didn't quite figure when I originally bought this case, and that is these cables here. Now, these are the standard front panel cables that connect into your motherboard, and it's not unusual, but this one is. You might see that it's got the words or the letters RGB written on it, and that's because it fits onto this. And that is because you use the reset button on the top panel to change the colours of your fans inside your computer, which also means that you don't have a reset switch. So now we've got things vaguely where we want them, and I will talk to my daughter whether she wants to use the reset switch or have the ability to change her colouring as she sees fit. Okay, colouring it is, so that needs to be plugged into there. We can then start putting the motherboard in. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to install the I/O shield, which is this thing, which came with the motherboard. And the way that it goes on is like that. Can you see that, Ams? Yeah, so that is how the motherboard's going to sit inside the case, which means that we need to put that in just there. Now, do you want to give that a go? Putting it in there from the other side? You have to go from the inside to the outside. And it's not easy. It is very fiddly. Okay, almost. It needs to clip into place. Let me give you a hand. Right. I think that's about it. Just make sure it's in all the way around, clipped in properly. There we go, that's better. Right. So now we get to install the motherboard. Right, so now that we've got the power supply installed and the wires basically where we want them and the I/O shield in place, we've got all of the stands that we can put in. So what we need to do now is we actually need to put the motherboard in. Right, so Emily, you want to do this or do you want a bit of help? You want a bit of help? Okay, all right. So if you come this side, I'll come this side. So if first we touch the case. Yeah. So because it's plugged in but turned off, we are earthing ourselves and dissipating the static electricity, so that we're not going to damage any of the components on the motherboard. Okay. So here we go. What we want to do is put it in at an angle. Kind of like that, and then we need to slot it in to the I/O shield, and then we need to make sure it lines up with the screws, like so. So there you can see the screw hole there, and in the middle there, they're all lining up. Wires are all in place where they need to be, so those are where all of these front panel connectors are going, those are going there. We've got the ATX power supply there and the USB 3 header, which is just here. That's fantastic. And CPU, that's going to be an absolute nightmare to get in. That's going to be really tight. That's not going to be funny or easy. I might have to do that myself. because I can't get my hand in there to get to it. We might have to pull it out a little bit. Yeah, it's not easy. That's because that's an oversight of this cooler, really, to be fair, because of its size. If it was a standard upright cooler, there'd be room. So it is made more difficult by this Prolema Tech. I'm just taking a look, and thankfully there's only just enough clearance across here for the tempered glass panel to go on back on. So that was going to be an interesting one. So I think the best thing to do here is if I pull that back out slightly, so I've got some room to get my hands in there, he says, and we will have to put that connection on first and then slip it back into place. That's assuming I can get my hands to it and then can plug it in, because that is really tight. Okay, well, I'll get that done off camera, because that's not going to be easy. As usual, so another oversight. Those cables are never long enough. Okay, finally. That took about 15 minutes to get that CPU cable in down there, and to do that I had to take out the RGB fan so I had room for my hands, and I had to do it with the motherboard pushed slightly back so there was more room for my hands so I could actually plug it in and then push the motherboard back into place. And I've got a screw in there and a screw in there just to hold it for the time being. So now I can reinstall the RGB fan. Now I've got to poke that through the hole up there somehow. Again, it's tight, so yeah, I will get on with that and do that. But first, before I do that, I need to put a screw into this hole down here, and I'll probably put one down there as well, and then I will let my daughter do the other ones that are down here on the bottom and on the side here, and then we can start plugging it together. And don't do it up too tight. Get the next one. That's it. Get it on the end. And this one just here. Other way. That's it. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. Okay, and the next one is over the back just there, next to that big silver block. Just here, look. If you can reach that far. Yeah. No, it didn't go in. So right, let's just put that on. Okay. Is that doing up? Shall I have a go? Okay, right, next one. There you go, and it's right over the corner. Let me move the duty stuff on the right hand side here. And that is the power supply to the motherboard. Do you want to have a go at this? Right, so those two are for your graphics card. And this one, this big cable goes in, and see it's got a clip on the side here, look. And the clip is on this side, so you want to put it that way around. Use both hands. Not too hard. Perfect. Look at that. Well done, Emily. Good job. High five. Right, so the next bit's really difficult. See all these little tiny wires? We now need to plug those in. And for that we need to reference the manual. So here's the manual. And this here tells us where those little cables need to go. Right, so we'll have a look at them because they're labelled. Right, so this one is labelled HD LED. So on here, that one, hard drive activity lead or LED, and it goes in the bottom. LED, that's right, well done. And it goes on those two pins in the bottom right hand corner. Do you want to give that a go? Right, so it's this block of coloured block over here, just there, and it's the ones on the bottom, I believe. Let's just do that red one. If you hold on that red one, just there. Just let me find the page again. So yeah, it's the bottom two in that coloured block that's there. So those two blue pins, do you see them? And you need to put that on those two blue pins, right in the bottom there. Okay, yeah, that looks about right. Just needs pushing on a little bit more, but yeah, that's right. Right, so now that we have built the PC, everything is plugged in, ready to go, and we're going to try and turn it on. Let's turn it on at the back first. So we have power, we have colour. Is the one at the back working? Okay, good. Oh, I got some nice defaults and boot. That's good, and there you go. It's working. Right, so now the thing to do with this PC is the way that it works is that if you remember, you chose that you wanted to change the RGB, and you do that with the reset switch on the top. Do you want to give it a go? So that little one just there. There you go. Red, green, blue, purple. A different blue. White. Yeah, you pleased with that? That little fist bump tells me everything. Here you go, let's see what it does. Rainbow! There you go. Is that what you wanted? Yeah? Are you happy? Cool. So there we go.
She's going to want me to have it on blue all the time.
Probably. She does like blue. But there we go. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for tuning in and watching this build video. There's a little bit more to it. I need to swap over Emily's hard drives from her old computer and put in a graphics card, but it is a working thing. So, until the next time, thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out our Facebook panel, Facebook page, and like and subscribe if you like this video. Hit the notification icon if you want to keep up to date with our videos. So until then, Tiger, say goodbye.
Bye.